Hello, good evening, Peter Fury.
Good evening.
How are you?
Very good.
Great, great, great. So tell us, my apologies earlier on for trying to get a hold of you and try and talk to you through Spreecast. It's been a bit difficult, but we finally got you online.
Yeah, that's precast. There's a lot of shit.
Yeah, I'll be having a few words with them after this. So let's take you back, back to the time where the last time we spoke, we talked about um, the contract between David Hay and yourselves, and we did that video, that interview. What happened after that interview was done between myself and you?
Well, everything was cool, you know. We got on. It was solicitors and red tape, but spoke to Adam Booth direct, and we fixed it in 24 hours.
So your 24-hour deadline, which was if they don't sign the contract by the end of the day, the fight is off, seemed to have worked.
Well, not really, because there was miscommunication. Because we was told that that there's a lot of messing around, pulling their feet, and this, that, and the other. And I said, listen, if they don't want to take the fight, we'll move on. We wanted to fight, and that's it. But I don't know what happened. I'm not blaming anyone, but Adam Booth rang me and said, look, where you want this, and you're asking for this, and you're asking for the other. I said, we're not asking for anything. I said, the deal's what it is. So anyway, to cut a lot of red tape out, we decided what we wanted there and then over the telephone and agreed it. And we signed it up. So it was all good.
So when you find man, you get David Hay. This is the man that Tyson's been talking about. Yeah, I'll fight David Hay. I'll fight David Hay. I'll do this. I'll do that. What does it now, as a trainer, what does that do for you? I mean, when you knew that you had your man, inside of your mind, did you have a strategy already in your mind as to how you were going to go about fighting David Hay? Or was this something that you went back and now started watching videos about David Hay?
Not really, no. I'm confident in Tyson's ability, and that's it. So, it's not just all about David Hay for me. It's about I'm not looking past him either. He's another formidable opponent. He's a world-class heavyweight, the same as any other heavyweight. When you're up there, that's it. Every fight's to be taken seriously. Nothing can be taken for granted. All these fighters, they can speak and be top confident, but anything can happen in that ring. Even if somebody's in there with no ability, not the capability of shutting his eyes and throwing a hard punch. We've seen it time and time again. So there's no particulars. It's just and when me and Tyson speak about this fight, to be honest, to us, it's the same as any other fight. We train hard for it. We've got a good training camp, albeit we've upped the levels on this camp with sparring partners and X, Y, Z, and we're not doing a stone unturned because we know the importance of this fight. But as regards of we just see it as another fight, really. It doesn't really matter if it's David A, Klitschko, or whoever it is. We ain't jumping over ourselves because it's David A or anyone else. It'd be the same if it was anyone.
Is there anything specifically that you're working on in camp for this particular fight with David Hay you may not have done in previous camps?
Well, we've got our strategies, and we're working on things. But we know, David A is looking for the big punch, and and to be fair, Tyson's looking for the big punch as well. So we'll just see how it goes on the night.
I know a lot of people are just saying, oh, as soon as David hits Tyson, the fight's over. But I remember those same people that said, as soon as David Hay hits Vladimir Klitschko, the fight's over. If you listen to people 2 years ago when they were talking about the fight, they're going, oh, all David Hay, and I was one of those people that said, all David Hay has to do is walk in there, hit Vladimir in the chin, and it's all over. Well, he did hit Vladimir in the chin, toe or bad toe or no toe or whatever it was. At the end of the day, he hit Vladimir on the chin. And for somebody who had a bad toe, he seemed to move pretty nicely around the ring for 12 rounds to avoid getting knocked out by Vladimir. Your thoughts?
Look, I thought David A done very well against Vladimir. Let me just say this, people don't realise, but I've looked at that fight and I've looked at it again. And, David A keeps coming in. He's coming into Vladimir all the time. But Vladimir never got involved with him.
Mm-hmm.
David A wanted to fight. He forced the fight. He pushed it as much as he could. So, boxing analysts really need to look at that fight again, because when they say David A done nothing and he done it to survive, there wasn't much he could do, because Vladimir was just too technically sound. He was too big. He was too strong. And there's nothing David A could do with him, because it wasn't for the one to try him, because David A tried repeatedly again, coming in. He even rushed in that fast. He run straight past Vladimir Klitschko. So, what more can he do? I thought he fought with heart. He fought with determination, and he went 12 rounds. He didn't get KO'd. He wasn't a cruiserweight, can't take a heavyweight punch. So let's look at the positive of it. We're fighting David A, so it's easy for me to try and criticise. Well, I'm not going to criticise, because he's gone 12 rounds with a good champion. So there we are. But it's like I said, look, we've got our own views on the fight, and we're very happy with it. We're very happy with this fight. I'm happy with it, and I can tell you now, Tyson's as confident as he's ever been with any other fight. He's so confident with this. So, we just look forward on the night, because Tyson will up his level, and believe me, he'll up his game, and he is upping his game in training like never before. So there's a lot of people writing him off, saying he's going to get chin, saying he's going to get that, this, that, and the other. I think if David A hits Tyson with every punch he's got, he's not going to move him anyway. That's my opinion. So we will see on the night. It's going to be very, very interesting.
I also think, tell me if I'm wrong here, but before Tyson went over by Cunningham, David Haye was in no rush to take that fight. And then, now that Cunningham put Fury over and he's got up and won the fight, he's saying, oh yeah, I'll take the fight now, because just look at the fight with Steve Cunningham. Almost like an opportunist.
Oh, look, there's a big difference. When Tyson's in the ring and the bell goes, and nothing's gone right for him in the build-up, and everybody's had to go home and he's had to fight on his own in Madison Square Garden, and his brain's outside of the ring while the bell's going. Anything can happen. Tyson's stone cold. He was, sometimes the light goes out because he's not home. But let me tell you, the lights will be fully on this fight. So make no mistake, there'll be no lights off. Everything will be 100% concentrating. So it's going to be an interesting fight. And look, there's nobody can say anything. Anything can happen. David Haye's a very good fighter, but anybody who thinks they can blow Tyson away is in for a big shock. It's not going to happen.
So in terms of sparring partners, I've read Eddie Chambers, Steve Cunningham, and Michael Spratt, and Dillian White. Those are the four that I know about. What have they brought to the table so far for you as a trainer? Well,
look, I've brought him in, to steady up, to build Tyson up gradually, and get him in with different styles. Sprott was here for the week. He brought some good sparring. He done very good, and he went home. We've had Dillian White. Dillian White, since he's been here, has got better and better, and forces the work. And obviously, Dillian's a strong laddie. He's like 18 stone. He can punch. Mm-hmm. And I've had Tyson standing toe-to-toe with Dillian and taking Dillian shots. So, we've been practicing all different things. We've got who else? We've got Irfan Iqbal, who's very, very quick. Regardless of his record, he's had all wins, by the way, but he's only, he's still maybe regarded as a novice. Right. He's very, very technically good. Right. He's fast. Very, very fast. He gives angles, he springs over with a looping right, comes in, long left hook, works the body well. And, he's very similar to David A, only believe it or not, quicker, because he's lighter. He's a light heavy. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a light heavyweight. And we've had him for speed. We've had Steve Cunningham over. Because look, boxing is a skill. Boxing's a science. People need to remember on that. It's not a bang on your lights out. Heavyweight boxing is about big punches, but I've yet to see what happens when they can't land that big punch.
That's the thing. Now, with a reach that Tyson Fury has over David Haye, now I remember my trainer used to tell me, because I had long arms, he'd say to me, keep the man at the end of your jab. There should be no reason why that man should get on the inside of your fist. And if they do, greet him with an uppercut. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, Tyson, when his head's on right, he can box from all angles. He's actually, look, it's we can talk about this forever. We're working to the 28th of September, and listen, let's get it on. Talking's one thing, action's quite another. And he's going to be ready. He's having the best of sparring, the best of technical sparring. It couldn't be any better. And if you criticise sparring partners, well, I know what happens to sparring partners. I could tell you things which I'm not going to repeat because I'm a professional man in my trade.
Right.
But I know about sparring partners, and I know how really good they are. I know about certain sparring partners that go in camps and get put out in sparring and get up off the floor. Listen, it can be a sparring, whatever you want. We've got excellent sparring partners for what I want. I picked them. And I'm very, very happy with my sparring partners. That's it. Because we had a choice of sparring partners. I picked these for a reason. Because we're working on things and, I'm more than happy. So I'm over the moon with Dillian, Airfan. It was a pleasure to meet Michael Sprott. All of these fellas. Steve Cunningham. Very, very happy with him. Steve's a two-time world champion, as you know. And he thinks, let's put it this way. He sparred with Tyson only yesterday morning and said Tyson's a future Hall of Fame fighter. That's his opinion.
Wow.
And he said he's never seen anything like it. It's just a shame he didn't do it when he, obviously not good for him, but he said if he'd have done this on the night, he'd have been untouchable. So it gives you an idea of the talent what Tyson's got. And I just can't wait for him to produce his talent and shut up all these mugs that think he's no good and got a glass chin and all this crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of that nonsense going on. There's a lot of that nonsense going on at the moment, and I don't buy into. First, I don't buy into hype, and B, I find it's highly disrespectful when you start turning around calling people bums and saying to people that have got glass chins and all the rest of it. And a lot of the guys that say it are people who have never got in the ring in their lives, that have never taken a punch in anger. And you expect every fighter that gets in the ring. So,
with the British heavyweight, who's done better? Let's look where Tyson is now and who's doing better. So at the end of the day, people should get behind the lad. But either way, that's all personal opinion.
Of course,
my job is making him perform on the night, and he will. He's a born and bred fighter. He's got fighting in his veins, so he's definitely. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. But David A can punch, and. Anything can happen. I can't say say, oh, it's a foregone conclusion, X, Y, Z. Because if it was a foregone conclusion, I wouldn't be in camps away from my family, would I?
Absolutely, you wouldn't. Of course, you wouldn't be. And probably if you could see the future, then you probably would have, and you could probably tell us the lottery numbers, or you'd probably know the lottery numbers yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So what can you say?
I'm very interested in the whole Steve Cunningham, Tyson Fury sort of sparring, because the last things I saw, it seemed like there was a bitter taste in Steve Cunningham's mouth. What was it like inviting him to camp? Was it difficult, or was it bygones be bygones?
Well, look, I'm a very reasonable man, and I get on with with everyone. I spoke to Steve. We've got a very good friend over there in America. I spoke to Steve that knows me well, and over a period of weeks, we were speaking to him, and we finally convinced him to come over. And he's not regretted it because he's come over. He spoke with Tyson, and they get on like an house on fire. So it's just strictly business, Tyson's got to hype the fight. That's what he does. Nothing's personal. It's like he was asked a question the other day. Do you hate David A? Absolutely, what a ridiculous question. He doesn't even know David A. Look, it's just
hype.
It's just hype and a lot of shit. But look, I respect all fighters. Tyson does. They've all got to get in there, And to say another fighter is useless, it's all hyped up for the night. Fighters has got to do what they got to do to hype themselves up for the fight. So, It doesn't mean anything really. You know, this is a sport. When you're in there, there's no love lost. You're trying to do your job, and that's it. But there's nothing personal in boxing.
What were your thoughts on the fight last night between Tony Thompson and Kubrat Pulev?
I beg to differ because I had somebody on your thing saying, "Oh, they're both crap." But look, I don't think Pulev's as shit as people think he is.
I think Pulev's very good, personally.
Yeah, look, Thompson. Who can listen? Vladimir Klitschko could not outbox Thompson. Vladimir Klitschko had to grind him down.
Yes.
In the first fight, Vladimir Klitschko was behind, I think, until he got stopped in the 11th.
Yes.
11th, Thompson. Even in the 5th round, even in the 6th round, was it, in the second fight?
Yes.
Thompson was in the fight. He wasn't winning Vladimir Klitschko, So, he's had to catch him. And, we got somebody here in Pulev who's outboxed a southpaw, awkward as anything. Yeah, so full credit to Pulev.
Absolutely.
I think the guy's done well. And it's like people saying he's pouring with a jab. Look, what else can you do with a southpaw? Vladimir Klitschko poured with a jab, did he not? When he fought him.
People see what they want to see, but they actually appreciate a guy's talent. For me, I mean, if you listen to the commentary, again, sorry to Barry Jones if he's listening to this. Barry Jones is a dear friend of mine. Now, they were saying, oh, it's 3 rounds and Thompson's up. 3 rounds and Thompson's up. I'm thinking to myself, hold on, this is a 12-round fight. Pulev is probably walking his way into the fight, trying to, suss out what's going on. Okay, this guy's southpaw, he's tricky, looking for his feints, his movement, and then saying, okay, 3 rounds, I've had a good look at you now. Now I'm going to put the pressure on you. But it's like it was prize fighting they were listening or watching.
No, look, Pulev's for the long haul. He comes into fights late on. He's a very defensive boxer, and look, he's had a strategy there for Thompson, and it's worked for him. He's had a strategy with other fighters. It's worked for them. Look, he's winning. He's number 1 by the IBF. He's mandatory. He's done his job. He's beat Thompson. He's fought Vladimir Klitschko twice. So nothing to be criticised. He's done his job. Now, no matter what it looks like to the public, is another matter. But skill-wise, he's a lot better than people think, and can he lift the world title? I don't think so. But is he good enough to fight for a world title? Yes. Anything can happen in boxing. He certainly deserves his shot, let's put it that way. I think he done a very good boxing display over Thompson.
I'd like to see him fight Vitali. I think he'd put a very good show up against Vitali, bearing in mind with Vitali's age now.
Yeah, I think I can't see Vitali coming back in the ring, to be honest. I think there's something going on behind the scenes, but I don't think he'll fight again because the latest about an injury not to box Tyburn, we all know these injuries are crap. So at the end of the day, there's another reason behind it. Whatever that reason is, only they know it. But let's move on. Vitali's got nothing to prove if he retires tomorrow. I don't know really what he's continuing boxing for. He's certainly got money,
Exactly.
So why bother?
I think he's cemented his legacy, to be honest.
Yeah, they both have,
Yeah.
Both done exceptionally well. So, the younger brother, he's continuing boxing, and good luck to him. And listen, they're at the top of the hill, aren't they? And everybody's going to say what they want to do to try and get a crack at them. But when they jump in that thing, anything we see.
I can't end this conversation without mentioning David Price because Tyson and David have been brought together so many times in the past, and people trying to compete one against the other. But what are your views now on David Price's career in terms of, first of all, the rematch with Tony Thompson, and secondly, the state that he's in now? What would you advise him as a trainer?
Well, look, first of all, I will mention on public opinion. Public opinion had it that he was the best thing since, he's the next one to take Vladimir Klitschko. Lennox Lewis, backed him to do the business. All the boxing pundits backed him to be better than Tyson and doing X, Y, Z and whatever. So what I'm saying is a lot of people can get things wrong. So, and when we said about his shortcomings, we was ridiculed about it. So really, what does public opinion mean when you look at it like that? So all this about what's going to happen to Tyson and what's going to happen not, it doesn't really deflect us whatsoever because we've got our own views. But getting on about David Price, I've always said he was an amateur in a pro game. You know, and it's all right them saying, oh, Lennox Lewis, this, that, and the other. You know, look, I was over in Canada, and we know a lot of people over there. You know, and I said I was the first one that broke the news that he was going to train in Canada. You know, we knew he was training in Canada, but Lennox Lewis was asking somebody else to train him in Canada, not himself. So Lennox Lewis had just been coming by the gym and had a look at him, shaking his hand and going, yeah, bro, you're doing great. So at the end of the day, what was he doing going over there anyway? You know, we only went to Canada because Tyson was fighting in Madison Square Garden. You know, why do you want to go to Canada for some training camp? Or rather bizarre. You know, his physique and everything didn't look as more sculptured as he did the first time. You know, look, David Price, he's got talent, he's got a good future. You know, but he's been handled badly. And you've got to box with a pro style. Look, you've got to ride. You know, you've heard a saying, haven't you? You've got to ride with the blows.
Yes.
And you know, look, professional boxing on a world level, it's not just hitting a bag and throwing a jab and throwing a hard right hand. You got to slip. You got to feint. You got to move. You got to have ability. You got to have agility. You know, you got to learn your footwork. You got to get your timing. You got to step in and out right. You got to have eye coordination. You got to have foot coordination. I can go on forever. You know, there's that many things to work on. When you come in the gym and you're stale and you've got nothing to tell the fighter, then pass him over to somebody else because you don't know your job. Because there's 1,001 things to work on. And then you've got the psychology part.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things involved in boxing on a world level stage. And Price never had it. He wasn't shown it. So, you know, he's moving up and down the ring, stiff-legged or whatever. Look, it was a recipe for disaster anyway. But can he come back? Sure he can come back. He's a good fighter, good amateur record. And why not? You know, I'm sure whatever he does, he'll come back and he'll do well. He's still the British champion, isn't he?
I find it quite an absurd decision to bring Lennox Lewis into camp. Simply because, A, Lennox hadn't trained anybody before, and there was nothing to suggest that he was a great trainer anyway. And 2, Lennox in his heavyweight dominance or his heavyweight career, I never seen him fight any southpaws. There were 3 southpaws he never faced. Michael Mora, what's his name, the South African, Corey Sanders, and Chris Bird. There were 3 southpaws in his era he never faced.
Well, Lennox Lewis is a very good fighter. He was an undisputed heavyweight champion, mm-hmm. You know. And I believe, you know, that fight with Klitschko was a good fight, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. You know? So, you know, he's done what he's done, Lennox Lewis. You can't criticise him in any regard. You know, they've obviously gone to him for his help, or he's offered it, and they've took it up. I don't think it's a case of anyone to really blame direct. I think you've got to get the roots, the foundation. You've got to get in a comfort zone. Mm-hmm. People around you can trust, and you don't go forward. I'm sure plenty of people in England up and down who will gladly train him or wherever he's going, in America or whatever. And he just needs to learn his job. And you know, this is a professional game. You know, look, I said this before. When you're an amateur, this is why we turned Yui over. You know, Yui won the world gold medal.
Right.
He's obviously the youth world champion. You know, and you know, he was offered straight away the podium squad by the Team GB for the Olympics.
Right.
And you know, obviously we turned this route down. You know, it was turned down for a reason, because you know we don't want him to be. You know, look, it's 3 years for the three and a half years for Rio, whatever it is, Brazil, and then it's going to take 3 to 5 years to bring him out of that amateur style.
You're right.
So it's not an easy job to bring an amateur fighter into the pro game. It takes time. You know, Yui is still doing a lot wrong. He's had 8 pro fights and he's still a baby in the pro game.
Right.
He's got a lot to learn. So, and he does a lot of things still amateur. You know, so basically we're pulling him round. Yeah, he's improving at a frantic rate, and he's a world-class young talent. But he's doing a lot of things still wrong. How hard can you imagine it is when you bring in a 23, 24-year-old from the amateurs? You know, look, it's not an easy task. So this is why we've turned him over now and let him learn his job in the pro ranks, because ultimately he wants to be a pro champion, isn't he? He's not interested in he's done the amateurs, he's done quite well, in the amateur sport. Amateur boxing is needed. It's the backbone of boxing, because without amateur boxing you don't really get good pros. So it conditions on amateur boxing is perfect. Not knocking it for 1 second, but to change an amateur to a professional is a whole different ball game. And David Price never done the transition. He's just a big, powerful fella with talent, and it was getting him by. But look, limited talent will only take you so far. It's only going to take Tyson so far, because Tyson got to 17-0 doing his own thing. So when you've got world-class heavyweights, they can go a fair distance, but they'll only go so far. They need training, and they need looking after properly. When you've got a good team behind you, everything's taken care of. You're looking after the fighter. All the fighter's got to do is condition his mind and think about his tactics and think about his boxing. He doesn't need to think about anything else. And when it's going wrong in there, don't look for the good things, look for the bad things, because we all like the good things. Fighters has got to be told, if it's no good, it's no good. If you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. And if they don't listen, they need to get out of the ring and come back the next day, because this ain't, look, to get everything, you're working for perfection. It's hard work, isn't it? There's a lot at stake, and it takes time consuming, and it takes years to bring a pristine fighter and learn his job, and dedication as well. And, you see what real champions are about. It's about longevity. It's not about tomorrow.
Peter Fury, thanks once again for talking to Bayloric TV.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. And next time, can we talk about gardening or something?